Welcome back to my shop, everyone. I wasn't in a talking mood while recording this video, so today we're gonna do a little bit of a voiceover. What you can see now is me roughing out a piece of curly maple, and I'm using my ball gouge to rough it out, and then I'll use my skew to finish it to a nice finish surface, and then I will start shaping the egg. But before I do that, obviously I'm gonna have to create a tenon, which you can see right now, and using this tenon I will chuck the piece into my chuck. Although not completely necessary, I do like to work with my skew every once in a while, especially when working on long spindle pieces like that, just to keep in touch with the skill of using the skew. I will switch to different tools later on that helped create a little bit of nice shavings. What you can see here is me using the Easy Wood Tools medium hollower just to take a lot of material off in a very short time, and I'm sanding it smooth the shape of the egg using my orbital sander. I'll put a link to the orbital sander video up in the right corner of the video for you to follow up if you want to see how I made it. So I'm parting the egg now from one side using my spindle gouge, and I will obviously finish the tip off with a little bit of sanding. You can see that right here. I think that's 120 grit, and I will part off the egg using my skew, and then obviously I'm gonna have to do something about the end of the egg, which wasn't sanded. I'm simply going to chuck the head of the orbital sander in one of my chucks and use that to round off the end of the egg. Now the shape of the egg is done, I can move on to piercing the egg. As you notice, the egg is still full, it's not hollowed out, so as I'm piercing it I will have to hollow it out as I go. I've accelerated the speed of the video to ×4 just so we'll able to see the entire process. This part of the video is 10 times the speed, so you could see me create the entire shape and see more or less what it takes to carve this deep into the egg using my Dremel tool and some piercing bits. There you go, you can see that I've created a small bridge. So that's the general idea of doing this. So let me do a couple of more shapes and I'll cut the bridges beneath them, and I'll get back to you and we'll see how this work goes. Okay, a little update. As you can see, I've already have a few forms ready, and I've carved below them as well to free them up. So to carve beneath the lines, I simply come at an angle. This is a small diameter egg or cylinder, so it's pretty comfortable to come from an angle to carve below, but I obviously have to be always aware not to touch the other side when I do these carvings. Very slowly. I'm taking my time, and I can always refine it also later to make it a little bit more thinner or more accurate. So I'm working on the rough form at the moment. So guys, another update about our situation here. Let me focus. So this is where I've gotten to. I'm gonna start doing some more, but I need to get some of the material from inside the egg out. lets us, as you can see, the egg is hollowed out, at least for the parts that I've already done, and I will continue to hollow it out as I go along and clear more and more material. So, a small update. After many hours of work, it's almost done. I would say I'm about 70-75% done with carving out the egg and hollowing out. As I'll continue on carving here, I will hollow out this part here. Let's see if I can get this part here, which I need to still hollow out, and start with the tip, which will be the hardest part because all the angles are going to be weird and I have to hollow out this entire chunk here. It's a little bit hard to see over here. So yeah, a lot of work still to be done, but I'm not discouraged. After doing that, I'm gonna have to start the really hard work, which will be to sand everything. A little bit of, need to take a little bit out of this part here. So yep, still a lot of work to be done. Let's continue, guys. So hollowing and piercing mostly done, and now I have to do a little bit of refining. I want to refine the thickness in some parts. As you can see, some of them are thick, some of them are thinner, and obviously I'm gonna have to sand it. The piercing bit, which is this one, that looks like a burr, leaves a lot of texture, as you can see, on the cuts themselves, but as I will refine now the cuts and make everything a little bit thinner, I'm going to be using different kind of burrs. I'm going to use one of those, and these will leave a nice and smooth surface. So I'll use these to refine the shapes and obviously make all these marks that were left by the piercing burr, and then I'll also be using those to thin out the pieces themselves. Very, very gently. And in the end, I will have to sand the outside as well. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. So let's do it. I want to thank you for joining me in this week's video, and I hope to see you back in my shop really soon.